Hey guys, it's Denny here from Kundala Yoga. It's another Friday and here comes another video for you. Even though we don't have the doors open to the public at the moment, it's still very much alive and well in here as we keep breathing our love and our energy into our healing temple at Spirit Earth Reiki until we can open up our doors again with warmth and welcome. And today I thought we'd do something a little bit different. In light of the Life Collective starting on the 7th of April, I wanted to bring to you a little bit of philosophy, and in particular a certain part of yoga philosophy that I have found extremely powerful in navigating challenging times in my life. And I think for these times that we find ourselves in now, as we navigate these uncharted waters, it's great to have a backbone that we can sort of call upon to keep that balance within our lives. I have got my notes here, so if you see me looking down, it's just so I don't lose track. But what I want to talk to you about today is a part of the 8 limbs of yoga. So from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, we have been given these 8 limbs that have been passed down to really help us to find balance within our lives, to find alignment on the yogic path so that we can stay direct on the best way to find that enlightenment, I suppose, is what I'm getting at. But it doesn't need to necessarily even be that enlightenment. It's just about finding that strong grounding within our lives when we've got this sort of map to find our way, especially when things are a little bit different to our normal routine. So I hope that makes sense. What I'm going to talk to you about today is the Niyamas. So in the 8 limbs, we have yoga asana, so the postures that we're all aware of, the meditation, pranayama, so the breathing exercises, and the second of the 8 limbs is called the Niyamas, and they're self-disciplines, I suppose, things that we can do within ourselves that we have control of, that if we keep a control of them, then everything else around us seems to feel a lot more manageable. So I'm going to start it off straight away, and I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions at all, please shout out. So the first one is socha, which is cleanliness or purity. And it is very much about, cleanliness of the body. We wash ourselves, we bathe ourselves, we care for our physical being. We even have practices where we cleanse the inside of our body. So you probably have heard of neti pot, where we put the salt water through the nose. I mean, you don't have to do it to that extreme, but just keeping in mind in these times, it's a wonderful time to cleanse your space, the space that you live in, clearing out your inbox of your emails, really creating this unclouded foundation to really thrive from. And of course, it's purity as well of the mind. And this is great to have in the back of our minds when we're starting to think of negative thoughts or unfavorable things. It's great to have in the back of our mind this idea of socha, that if we do find ourselves thinking something, we can sort of call ourselves up on it, acknowledge it, and then take that moment to sort of change it. And then bit by bit, as we learn to observe and change, we start to purify our mind. Then we can keep our bodies clean, our space clean, and we've got a really great place to work from. The next one is santosha, which is contentment. And with this one, so Kiko McGregor wrote a post in, I think it was in the Yoga Journal, and she mentioned it as sometimes this can be regarded as spiritual bypassing. And she says this is totally wrong, and I totally agree. So it is about finding contentment within the challenges of our life, but not in the sense that we just go, well, everything happens for a reason and such can treat me like that. That's fine because, it all happens for a reason, or whatever it might be. That in itself is unhealthy because we're not actually facing the truth there. So when we find contentment, it is very much about facing what challenges us. So in these times, when we find all of these new challenges arising, rather than trying to face away from them and focusing on the positive only and just trying to push past, we can't deny the part of ourselves that really needs to feel what it needs to feel. So the call out of santosha, the lesson here, is to sit within our challenges and transmute them by acknowledging them, by asking for the help that we need. And in times like these, community is more important than ever because we really are in this together. So we need to reach out where we can reach out, keep our spirits alive by talking about it rather than just trying to keep pushing on. I think that's all I need to say about that. The next one is tapas. And if you've been following me for a while, you've probably heard me talk about tapas. I love it. It's very important in our lives. It is discipline and practice. So the reason that I think this is great for now is it's about finding a new routine, something that we can adhere to so that we can keep that self-trust alive. When we have a small practice, say for instance, maybe a morning ritual or a daily asana practice, a daily meditation, it doesn't need to be huge. It could be a small 5-minute routine or practice that we commit to. When we build that discipline, we build self-trust. The beauty of self-trust is that when we believe in ourselves, when we can trust ourselves to show up for ourselves, then anything else seems possible. You know, there was that thing going around where if all we did for the day was make our bed, at least we've done that. We've made that one achievement for the day. And that gives us that backbone again. That's something that we can strive forward from. So it's all about building a discipline, a routine, a practice, and not to slip those away while we find these new norms in our lives. So I can't recommend that enough. Just find yourself a small practice that you can stay disciplined to keep that self-trust, that self-willpower alive. And then with that, you can keep transmuting it and keep changing it as our future changes and evolves. The next one is svadhyaya, which is self-study, which traditionally was about sacred scriptures, reading your sacred scriptures. That doesn't necessarily need to be something for you, but it's a great opportunity to understand ourselves. So whether that's a meditation practice or whether we want to lift our spirits through a podcast, go deeper within some sort of idea that we've wanted to study, a book that we've wanted to read, just something small that you can do for yourself that helps you to progress, that makes you feel like you are finding this growth within yourself. A great opportunity to really come inwards and to acknowledge what our challenges are as well, and then using the advice of a professional through, maybe a book or through the podcast, a YouTube video, something that can help us to grow and to find a higher moral ground, I suppose. The last one is Ishvara Pranidhana, which is devotion. Devotion to God is what it traditionally is, and that's not going to resonate with everyone. But I think what the takeaway we can take from this is having faith in something. And it doesn't need to be a universal power, or it could be that if that's what it is for you. It could just be having faith that things will work out in the end. And I think that if there's nothing else we can hold on to in these times when we really don't know what it lies before us, having faith in something is going to really help us to hold ourselves through these challenges. It's that glimmer of hope that we can work towards that's going to really lift us. Once all of this goes away and we want to push forward, we can step back out into the world again. If we have this faith that's going to help us get there, that's going to help us sustain us till we get there. But then once we align all of these niyamas and we put them into practice, that's when we do step back out into the world. If we've built this in our time in self-isolation or whatever you want to call it, then we've got that really strong backbone to push all of our wonderful ideas and project them out into the world and allow them to manifest and create our beautiful little light, our little piece in our world. So I hope that makes some sense to you. I hope that gives you something to work from. If you're wanting to dive deeper into all of this and learn more about how you can bring yogic philosophy into your life to really feel that strength behind you, I definitely would love to welcome you to come along to the Life Collective. It starts on the 7th of April and all the details are in the link in my bio. Otherwise, have a beautiful week. Namaste.